Hey yo, what's up, viewers? Welcome to Crypto Moonlix. Uh, Call me Licky. This will be giving information about the crypto market as usual. And today I want to give an update of the market before the New York Sessions market opens at 4:30 p.m. That is in Kenyan time or in East African time, depending on the location that you are in. Now, let's begin by seeing what the Bitcoin dominance is doing, what Bitcoin is doing generally, and on different timeframes. Now let's start with Bitcoin. We are seeing Bitcoin is now at the price of $24,170. If we can clearly look at our relative strength index and our stochastic RSI, they seem quite low. Our RSI is telling us that it's now at a rate of 15. That is below average because the low average of the relative strength index is normally at 30. The highest average is normally at 70. Now we are seeing a low average of 15.21. We're also seeing a low level of the stochastic relative strength index at a level of 0.00, meaning that it's neutral. But this is on the 1-day time frame. If you look at the lowest point within the 1-day time frame, we normally see a level of negative 0.38 within our stochastic relative strength index. How many times has this done? We are seeing it one. We are seeing it where? We are seeing it here. Okay. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12. Should we see an inverted pattern within our stochastic relative strength index? Should we see also an inverted pattern within our relative strength index? Because simply what is telling us that when it arrives on the point of 11 to 10, we normally see bounces on the 1-day time frame. Remember, we are having issues with recession looming within the markets. The CPI data, which is the consumer price index data, came out on Friday at a level of 8.6%, and we expected a data rate of 8.3%. That means inflation hasn't peaked at all. If inflation hasn't picked up at all, what's going to happen? Now, the Fed might impose a Fed rate of 75 to 100 basis point coming up on Wednesday. If you're having a 75 basis point within Wednesday, then there's a lot of fear in the market in that the stocks will plunge and also will make crypto plunge even more, having us bottoming maybe at 22 to 21. Not bottoming within the 1-day time frame, but bottoming within the different time frames until probably on Wednesday. If the 75 basis point is imposed within the markets, then you'll have a crash to maybe $15,000, $12,000, 18, or even you may never know even $8,000 is possible. Now, within the 1-day time frame, we are seeing quite low within the BTC. Let's look at it within our 4-hour time frame, which is more favorable. Look at it within the 4-hour time frame. It seems that it's bottomed out every time that it drops. Look, over here, we had one large dip. We already bottomed out here. We had another dip over here. We bottomed out here. Again, we're having another dip over here. We're bottoming out here within the stochastic RSI. Same to the relative strength index. We are bottoming out significantly on the same direction. Okay? On the same direction. Should we expect Bitcoin to drop to 22 or 21K? Shorting at this position is quite okay because everyone is shorting, but remember, it's a risk that you're simply doing within your trades. This is a risk that you're taking as of now. But remember to close your short position tomorrow on Tuesday before the Fed meeting happens, and they'll have to discuss on the Fed rates that they might have to bring into the markets. If we look at our SP 500, we have the SP 500, we have the NASDAQ, and you have the Dow Jones. I already drew a bullish trend line over here, saying every time that we normally move bullish within our SP 500. We pumped, dropped, came back above it, again, retested that bit of some resistance a bit, came back down, restarted this for the second time, came back down, retested for the third time, came back down, then we broke it. And when we broke it, this is the time that Bitcoin pumped to $32,000 from $24,000. Now we are breaking it downwards. Might you have a retest over here within the SP 500? Remember, the New York session will happen at 4:30 p.m. If the New York session happens and you start dropping, you start seeing stocks like SP 500 dropping, Dow Jones dropping, NASDAQ dropping, Apple dropping, Tesla dropping, and Netflix dropping. That is what people are in fear of. And that's why you're seeing even Bitcoin falling at this current rate up to 24,021. It doesn't matter if my wholesaler's buying average is at $22,000 and he might get wrecked at that price. It doesn't matter at all. Recession doesn't care about one individual. If everyone is afraid of a recession, then that means BTC might even drop to a level even of $5,000. Who knows? Who knows? But as of today's session, we are talking of the price within the mid-term. By mid-term, I'm expecting Bitcoin to fall to, it has already fallen to 24K. So it's already oversold within the different time frames, within the 4-hour time frame and in the 1-day time frame. Okay, it's been oversold in the 1-day time frame and the 4-hour time frame. If I can draw a bearish trend line over here within the 4-hour time frame, I'll expect us to break this bearish trend line over here within the 4-hour time frame. If able to break this bearish trend line over here within the 4-hour time frame, then I'll say I'll simply be bullish. So we have simply formed a triangular pattern over here within our trend lines on the southern side and on the northwest side. If able to break this trend line moving on the upwards, then I will say Bitcoin might have a bit of some relief, maybe to have a retest back, to the levels of, there, 26,880 will be a retest for me to actually long Bitcoin to $26,680. If Bitcoin is not able to arrive at the $26,680, then what do? Let the trade come onto you. Don't follow the trade. It's simple as that. Follow simple rules. Let the trade come onto you. I am shorting the market now. It's fine. I need to see when it's bottoming out tomorrow. After the Fed have already given out their basis point on what might happen and how they're going to control inflation with either the monetary policy or the fiscal policy, then what do? I'll simply close my position if it's bullish. Then I'll go long on my Bitcoin and simply close my long position at the level of $26,680. If we look at the Bitcoin liquidations within the 24 hours, we are seeing people have been wrecked at a level of $768.86 million. Within 12 hours, 628.16 million people have been wrecked. That means majority have been trading within the 12 hours. What do I mean within the 12 hours? Long positions have been in the market within 12 hours. Okay? Within the 12 hours, long positions have been opened within the market. Now, when the Asian market opened up earlier, we saw a drop in the markets. Now that we are 12 hours away from that, we are actually 6-8 hours away from the Asian market open up. Now we have seen large liquidations within that 12 hours, $629.13 million. Now we are seeing within 24 hours, we are seeing a 68.88% long positions have been opened. Within 12 hours, you're seeing a 69.92% long position have been opened. Within the 4 hours, you're seeing a 61.11% long positions open. And within the one hour time frame, you're seeing a 58.79% long positions. So majority of people have been liquidated at Ethereum because they believe that Ethereum has bottomed out. If you check Ethereum also on the different time frame, it had a bit of some FUD with the Ethereum staking 2.0. Ethereum dropped to 1,176. It's been oversold in the market at a level relative strength index at 11 0.70. Our stochastic RSI is quite low at 7.25, and our MACD is now at a level of negative 100. It's quite low. So Ethereum has been oversold at this level. Should you go long? You shouldn't go long. Wait for Wednesday evening. That's when you're able to know the next position that should get into the market. Should you short now if you never shorted the market? You might not want to short as of now or long as of now. But as the New York session opens up at 4:30 p.m., if the market crashes, Bitcoin will even crash more to even maybe another 10% drop to another 8% drop. So if you've already shorted the market and you're already in profits, please pay yourself. If you don't want to pay yourself, then you might get wrecked on the short term. What if Bitcoin inverts all of a sudden and pumps 5%? Your losses are gone, especially if you have a leverage position of 5, 3x, let's say above 3x, okay? You will be sweating your pants. So what do? Pay yourself. You're already in profits by shorting. That is beginning on Friday when the CPI data came out. Short the market, take your profits, leave the other margin that you actually traded on, and let it continue to rumble until 4:30 p.m. When the 4:30 p.m. New York session opens, we're able to see what the SP 500, the Nasdaq, and the Dow Jones, what it will simply do within also our global market. Everyone is curious to see what will happen within the stock markets. I'm also curious to know what will happen at 4:30 p.m. Kenyan time to see how the markets will react or how the crypto market will react in response to the stock market. So also Ethereum has been oversold within the different time frames, within the 4-hour time frame, and also within the 1-day time frame. Now, the other thing also, we are seeing a huge pump in bonds. Today, we are having the 2-year yield bond has simply pumped 4.37%. If I'm checking on the 5-year yield bond, let me go to bonds, 5-year yield bond. On the 5-year yield bond, you've also seen an influx high of 3.56%. And on the 10-year yield bond, I'm seeing a level of 2.41%. So I'll simply go the 2-year yield bond on a shorter time frame within the bonds. That's on the 2-year yield bond. Within the 1-day time frame, we're seeing the 2-year yield bond quite high. It's quite high compared to 2019 when we had the Bitcoin crash or the stock market crash. Let me remove that. Okay. Look, let me try and have that horizontal line over here. There. Look, it surpassed the 2018, 2019. Has inflation peaked yet? No, it's just above it by a bit. We are seeing its highest was a level of 3.069. We are now seeing a 3.209%. The inflation curve flattened and the bonds also flattened. That means that the government are not simply withdrawing their assets, such as mortgages, that they promised to do. What are they going to withdraw on the short term? They'll have to start using simply, what is it called? QT, quantitative tightening. Huh? They're simply using quantitative tightening within the markets, and they'll also have to grow aggressively with the basis point of maybe 75 to 100 basis point beginning on Wednesday. Okay, beginning on Wednesday, we might see a 75 to 100 basis point, and that's why a lot of people are in fear of the market, and that's why the markets are crashing. So let's see what will happen at 4:30 p.m. as the New York session happens within itself. I'll have to look at Bitcoin within also on the shorter time frame, within the 15-minute time frame before I leave. Let's look at it within the 1-hour time frame. There it is. Has it been oversold even within the 1-hour time frame? Yes. Look at its lowest point previously. It was at 20. Same thing. We are seeing also here the same thing. We're also seeing the stochastic relative strength index. Bitcoin and Ethereum has been sold within all time frames. All time frames, they have been sold. Now let's look at our heat map. Let's look at our bookmap, simply our heat map. What is happening within the markets? Now, as you can see, We are at a level of 24,460. Large buy orders limit at 24,100. Okay, these are large orders. So there's large buying orders at 24,100. And how much is it at? It's at now it's at 372 to 374 Bitcoin. That means for us to drop up to 24,100 will be quite difficult. But remember, whales are playing with the markets. They won't want us to drop at a level of $24,100 Bitcoin currently within the market. So what will they do? They simply take you down to the price of 24,100. You go short in that level of 24,100. After you go short to that level of 24,100, they remove their liquidity, will drop further if you short, or if they might not drop 24,100, okay, they might not favor you. They'll simply drop 24,100, then simply pump back up to 24,600. That is if you're trading on a high leverage of 30x, 20x, and 10x. But if they are having Bitcoin worth at 396 BTC, you can see it's dropping. Huh? Where the 300, it was 372, now it's at 390. That means people are now closing their position, where some whales are closing their position. It will be quite difficult within the shorter time frame for us to drop below 24,100, because that's where the large buying limit order it is at within 24 hours. If you can check on the other selling limit order is at 24,800 worth 388 Bitcoin. If you're seeing the level between 24,100 to 24,800, this is trading within a shorter time frame. Shorter time frame. Okay, so what happened over here? If you can look at this graph over here, we dropped to $24,000. Look at the large vector green candle that happened. Some might have been liquidated from the $24,000 level to the 24,442. We've come up back up above the 5 EMA. So large vector candle, that means there was a buy large order 24,000 from $24,000 to 24,417. Same thing happened over here. We are having a limit order at 24K to 24,1K. It will be difficult for us to drop below 24K unless the New York session happens within how many hours from now? I will say probably 3 hours, and actually I think it's 4 hours, exactly 4 hours before the New York session happens. If we're able to check on our EMAs on the different time frames, can we simply have a bounce to okay, a bit, let me remove this kindly, then look at how far we are away from the 200 EMA. The 200 EMA is at a level of 32,197. That's the 50 EMA. The 100 EMA is now at 35,579, and the 200 EMA is at 39,187. Can you have a relief bounce back to the 28,590? I don't think so, not anytime soon, but able to see what happens on the shorter time frames within BTC. Just know it has been oversold. Shorting right now, Bitcoin is quite risky. What I would highly recommend is please pay yourself if you've shorted the position. If you haven't shorted the position, don't try to get on into any shorts as of now until the New York session happens between 4:30 to 5 p.m. Remember, when the New York session normally happens, we normally have within 1 hour to 2 hours so that you can be able to know what happens within that trade. We normally have dumps maybe when it's opening up, then all of a sudden after 2 hours it pumps, or you can have a pump, then it dumps all of a sudden. Let's end and see what happens within that time frame. As you can see, Bitcoin is having a nice bounce up to 24,330. I'm going to check that within the 45-minute time frame. Yes, we've had that relief bounce over here, back. One large green candle from the $24,000 zone within the 45-minute time frame. We pumped back up. Can you have a retest back to the 25,228? It's a nice zone I'll be able to look at if I'm trading on a shorter time frame. And on this zone, I would like to call it, on my own, I like to say this is a nice demand zone for me. Okay. It's a nice demand zone for me if I'm trading on a shorter time frame. That's on the 45-minute time frame. This is a nice demand zone for me. So I'll wait to see what happens within 24,000 to if it can pump back up to 25,259 within today or tomorrow. And so that means I'm trading on a very short time frame. If it's able to arrive at 25,279, I'm closing my long position. But let's see what happens within the New York session market happens. So thank you guys for attending. Subscribe. I'm glad, and I might do a session with you guys when the New York session opens up at 4:30 to 5 p.m. How to do this video before the market opens up and as the week begins. Cheers.